has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
Hey guys, Malzo here. Taking a look at Shox today. This is my second review of Shox, and this was at the major qualifier against Immortals. This map went into overtime. It was a super tight game. G2 was trailing for quite a bit of it. So if anything's going on with Shox, we should be able to catch something. My last review of him was a little bit sketchy. He had some stuff that I thought looked kind of weird. He likes to shake his mouse like that a little bit too at the beginning of rounds quite often. But here we go. Just around. He didn't have the most amazing game or anything. But I figured, you know, I'll get my second demo in for Shox and see what it looks like. I haven't done anyone else from G2. I've had some requests to do body, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I figured I'll try and hammer off another Shox review. He has a pretty good game. He just doesn't top frag for his team. Most of G2 I think are actually pretty close in the fragging column on this game. None of them really go insane or anything. His pistol round all look good to me. Didn't notice anything too out of the ordinary. There is one spot that was a little bit weird. I'll slow that down at the end and you can kind of judge for yourself. But right here when he does his 180, gets close to lining that guy up. But I mean, he's doing a 180. He's still pretty close to the doorway. He really only misses the doorway by like a little bit in height. So it's a pretty good 180, you know, like he only missed it by a little bit. So if his crosshair would have ended up in fucking in no man's land, you know, it would have been a lot more alarming. But since he missed the door by so little, I really don't think this is too much to read into. He doesn't land right on Henny either, so no big deal, I don't think. Alright, so let's go into the first gun round here. And you can see he shakes his mouse around at the start, a little bit like Stewie2K even, but he only does it really at the start of the rounds and it's not nearly as extreme. And I think that's, I mean, he's obviously not cheating when he does it. I think it's fair to do, you know, get a kind of move your mouse around the cross or around your mouse pad, kind of get a feel for it at the start of some rounds. I don't have a problem with that. I usually do like including the early gun rounds. I'm not sure if I buy into this fucking 3-door A-take. That's a little unusual, but I guess you can make the argument that, you know, since they weren't giving an A main presence, you know, the CTs would be far away. And that, I guess when you look at the radar, that kind of is what you see. Like the CTs were pretty far away and didn't rotate because they felt safe when they had A main control. I just want to take a quick look at this. It's something I've really been trying to watch out more for. And like after spray downs, where their crosshair goes. And yeah, I don't think there's anything too wrong with that. It does flick into a weird spot, but I think he's just trying to turn to get onto the site, and that's kind of his swipe. But ever since the glaive and shroud clip and even rush a little bit, where like they do a spray down and then immediately lock onto someone, I've just been trying to watch that a little bit more careful. This one looks all right though. Okay, we're gonna see a pretty quick clip here. I'm not gonna show the whole round or anything. He just has a really nice lineup on this guy. Like you would think these guys would use offsets normally, but Shox has had clips in the past where he clearly did not give a fuck about an offset. So just keeping an eye on everything, you know. And I'm trying to think if this makes sense to use an aim key here. Like Henny's not really in a typical spot where Shox would line up or anything. Like Henny's behind the red box. It's not like he's lining up to come out and look forklift or anything. It's a gun round, so it's an important round. You could say, normally I try and say in a 5v5, you know, Shox would probably have a pretty good idea where someone is, but if they're going to do an A-take, he may want to know if someone's quad or fence, and hitting his aim key while looking, like right there, looking towards quad. If he hits his aim key and it doesn't lock on to anything, it pulls back to sight, then that would tell him no one's quad, right? So there could be something to this. It could also just be a coincidence that he locked onto him through the wall. So yeah, you definitely don't want to see too many clips like this, especially on important rounds. Like if he was doing this and he had a fucking Glock, you know, it would mean nothing, but you definitely don't want to see it too often on meaningful gun rounds, especially like they just lost the last round. So this is a pretty important round. Yeah, I'll keep my eye and see if this happens more often. So here's a weird smoke. I don't know if Counter-Strike is really at the point where we like smoke off like uncommon boost spots. I guess it's not that uncommon, but it was still interesting to see that smoke go out. Anyways, G2 has a pretty good strat here. They just do a small force. They bought one flashbang on Shox. He throws the pop flash and they just run through the smoke at A main, which worked out pretty fucking well for them. Shox is a good round here too. He's quite a good clutch player. Like you can see he knows what he's doing. For sure, he steals the smoke off the dude that he kills, smokes off truck, and uses it to get into a pretty good position here. Dodging the spam coming through the smoke too. He's lucky he didn't get hit by that, but has a nice little flank on the CTs, and they win the round because of it. Good stuff. Seems like I always include clips like this, but stuff like this is kind of important because it does show. I'm not saying Shox is using an aim key necessarily, but if he was and he just taps it and lets go before it locks onto a CT, this is exactly what it would look like. The little flick to the right, and if he lets go of the aim key before it reaches the CT, this is all it would look like. So you can ask yourself, maybe he was just turning around or thinking about turning around, or maybe he just felt like moving his mouse on his crosshair. I thought the movement looked slower than when he normally moves around the map, but maybe I was reading too much into it, or maybe I'm just overanalyzing it. But I'll show it again here at full speed so you can see what it looks like, and then I'll let it play on, and you can kind of see what he looks like when he's normally moving around the map. So that's the aim key looking thing. Then when you see him move around the map normally here, it's a little bit quicker. Maybe because he's not walking, it looks different, but I thought it was notable, and we can kind of speculate on it. Shox does some pretty good spamming in this round, so I figured I'd throw it in. You can check it out. It looked fine. It's not like he's fucking locked into the dude flusha style or anything. He's just spamming through the wall. If there is anything there, it's hard to say. He hits Phelps once there with that spam, and the spam he adjusts because he can see the tracers are coming in kind of at an angle, so he knows that Bolts is standing on the lockers in there, and that's how he knows to adjust up and get a really accurate spray, just because of the way he sees the tracers. I'm gonna slow that down just to show you. You'll see when the tracers come in, Shox kind of realizes they're on an angle, and that's why he sprays up, and he gets a few hits in. So all good there. Looks fine to me. Alright, I really don't think there's much in this clip, but I wanted to put it in because it could be something that people talk about. Like when Shox was on the boost there, I'll slow it down and you can check it out, but his crosshair moves toward vent, and it's a really bad swipe. Like you'd think he'd swipe and look right into vent right away. You're gonna see the swipe right here. He goes from sandbags to vent, kind of misses, and then recorrects. It's not a big swipe. You'd think he'd be able to get it a little bit more accurate than that, but so I'm like, well, maybe he's got an offset on the guy in vent. It's possible. But the way he plays out the round, like he gets that kill on the guy highway, steal, and then pushes mid. So I would have thought if he knew the guy was in vent, he probably wouldn't have pushed mid like that. Maybe he would have got the kill on highway and then came back to kill the guy vent. So I don't think he necessarily knew that guy was in vent. So I don't think this is anything either. Okay, pistol round, CT side, and G2 are not in a good fucking spot. Down 11-4 on cash, which is it goes back and forth a little bit, but typically a little bit CT sided. Can be even depending on what teams are playing T side. So definitely a really good start for Immortals, and this is kind of where if someone was cheating, you'd think you'd see some shit. You're gonna see Shox look into the wall here a lot, and this is one of those cases where the argument of, hey, maybe he's just looking into the wall to hear the footsteps better, it actually applies because Steel is running. So there are a lot of footsteps being made, so you can't read too much into the fact that he's looking into the wall. If Steel was walking and Shox was doing this, this would be a whole different story. But since Steel is running, this clip is nothing. Okay, first gun round. And Shox gets saved by his buddy Scream here. Scream plays a little bit of anti-flash because he's looking up at the boost. And it fucking saves their ass here because Shox would have been lay fucked there. And he gets a kill out of it. So pretty simple round. Not too much to talk about there. This is a retake. Another gun round. And G2 are starting to catch up here in a 3v3 retake on B. And Shox doesn't have a huge impact or anything. But there's kind of a weird spot to this that I'm going to slow down. And I just don't like why is he moving his crosshair like that? I don't know what is going on there. It's definitely not an aim key. Like the aim key would lock right onto Henny. Is he moving away and then aim keying back? Is that maybe what's going on? But clearly looking to the left, like there's not going to be anyone fucking beside you on the left. I don't know why he's looking left at nothing, he's just looking into the wall. So that crosshair placement is really weird, or that movement. It really doesn't make sense. I know there's been people have known about cheats where like if you move your crosshair over somebody, it'll make a beep in your headset. Maybe something like that, he's moving his crosshair through checkers. Maybe he's trying to see if he'll hear a beep at some point. Or maybe he's just moving it to move it. But like anybody that's played CS, I don't know. Am I missing something here? Like, is there a reason to do what he's doing here? To totally look into a fucking wall for no reason where nobody could possibly come out of and then turn back to the opening? Like, I don't know. That's really weird. Especially in a really tight round like that, where you're trying to clutch it out. Like, even if your mouse is a little bit uncomfortable and you want to move it, like you'll typically just kind of deal with it and just leave it there to hold your angle with an op. Especially with an op, if the guy comes out, you're just going to shoot anyways. So if anyone knows what the fuck's going on here, let me know, because I really don't know. Alright, if you were watching this game live or were on Reddit the day this game was played, you have definitely seen parts of this round. This was a huge round for G2. They saved, and Shox has a really good round. Hit some nice shots. And yeah, I'm gonna let this play out. I don't want to spoil it, although I'm sure you guys have seen it. Nice little counter boost mid-round. I love like mid-round counter boosts. Much better than, just doing it at the start of the round. When you do it 30, 40 seconds into a round, it's way more of a surprise, and like with only 3 Ts alive, you just can't defend against it. Unfortunately, doesn't get the hit there. Really not as easy as it looks, despite it looking like a really bad whiff. And I wanted to show the rest of this round from Henny's perspective, or Hen 1, however you prefer. Henny rolls off the tongue a little bit better. And I'm sure you guys have all seen this fucking shot from Scream. This is nice. Just a fucking drive-by. I got another angle, just because they're so nice looking, right? Got to show it more than once. I remember watching this. I thought for sure Scream was dead as soon as Henny started peeing around the corner. And I was ready to wrap it up, Oh, that's a nice eco round, yada yada yada, whatever. But yeah, that was pretty sick. That was a nice shot from Scream. They talk about his one taps, right? This was a pretty interesting round. You're gonna see Shox like rip around the corner and just pre-fire the fuck out of Phelps here. And when I saw that, I'm like, well, they must have known he was there, right? To pre-fire him that hard. So I watched it from Phelps's point of view, and they really didn't have, they really didn't know he was there. You can see they don't really have any intel on that area. The only thing that Shox may have heard, maybe one footstep. You're going to see Phelps move. If you look at the radar too, you can see Shox is closing in on the A main entrance, and he'll get close, and Phelps made a footstep right there probably, but like those are some pretty good ears from Shox. So that makes it within the realm of possibility, at least. If Phelps would have made no noise there, it would have been pretty weird looking, because I'll slow this down. You can see, like, he pre-fires the fuck out of this guy, so I thought maybe he hit an aim key while he turned or something and knew there was a guy there, but with that footstep, or at least it looked like he made a footstep, I'm pretty sure he moved far enough for it. That puts enough doubt, that this is probably nothing, and he's just trying to get into the site, I think. So, I don't know. Something to talk about anyways. Alright, buckle up, guys. This is a long fucking round. It is the first round of overtime, and Shox is opping, so I got the red dot going for us. And there's a lot that happens. You're going to see a lot of swiping back and forth that is getting really close, if not dead on, characters multiple times. Every time he swipes, it seems like he lands on a guy, which is pretty unusual. He peeks to the boost spot there, and I don't know if he caught it, but when he peeks, he misses the crosshair placement. Instead of being in their correct spot, he's looking right through the wall at the guy. And yeah, there's a ton of swipes back and forth here that all land really close or on someone. And of course, I always say, offsets are definitely common. Even a cheap aim key will have you offset, so when you aim lock or hit your aim key, it'll just go to someone's foot or go to 1 foot right of their body, so it doesn't go right on someone. So I slowed a bunch of these down just to look at. And the amount of stuff going on in this round, like right there on Lucas, he lines up almost exactly. Normally these things, they just kind of happen like once or twice. Like, for this to happen so many times in one round is pretty special. He goes right on hen 1 there when he turns as well, and here's shortly thereafter. This is when he peaks the boost. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he just missed his crosshair spot, but he's like center mass on Phelps when he peaks. I'm like, okay, well, might have just missed his crosshair. But then, like, just the amount of stuff that keeps happening after this, like, that's not that hard of a angle to line up, and he would definitely want to line it up with the top edge of the boost spot, so that's really weird. This is probably the worst one, just because the crosshair makes a really weird looking maneuver towards the guy's feet. Like, normally the crosshair just zips back and forth when you're moving with your mouse. That really did have a curve to it, which looked kind of weird, I thought, and it goes right on the guy's foot and definitely sticks and follows him a bit. So I thought that was probably the worst one. And then this last round, this doesn't look like much, but collected with all the other things that happen in this round, how he kind of lines right up on the guy. He mixes the forklift crosshair placement a little bit, and I just wanted to add that in there as well. Just the amount of things going on here is way above average for one fucking round, in my opinion. The chances of that shit happening all in one round is fucking unbelievable. Like, and especially first round of OT, really important round. Yeah, I think that's probably, fucking top 5 worst rounds I've ever seen cheating wise. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I definitely think there's some fucking shit going on here for sure. The offsets kind of make it unfortunate. It was nice back in the day when people would just lock right onto dudes' heads and shit, because that made it look even better. But that's what we got to work with now. But I still definitely think there's something going on here. Okay, we made it to the last round of the game here. Shox really didn't have much else go on, but this round's a little weird. He does one of those little circle moves that's what it looks like when you hold down your aim key and try to move your mouse. I don't think that's what's going on here, despite him doing it over a CT. Like, the CT's so far away, I don't think he'd be able to aim key onto a guy that far away, but it does look weird. It is the second time in the game where he's actually done that exact circle thing while at Squeaky. So maybe it's like a ritual for him. I don't fucking know, but it definitely looks weird. He's done it lots just at the starter rounds. He'll just come out of spawn, rip out of spawn, run to wherever, and just spin his crosshair really quick like that. So it's not something totally out of character for him. And Yeah, he has a pretty boring round here too. Like the rest after that 15-15 round, the first round of overtime, there really wasn't too much. Which honestly kind of makes that 15-15 round look even worse, I think. You know, like it just stands out so much. I thought I really didn't like watching it. It really felt like something was going on there. You know, I'm not gonna say 100% that he was cheating, but the fucking shit that he did, the chances of all that happening in one round is pretty fucking low. I don't know, Shox. You don't have the best reputation either when it comes to cheating, so yeah, there's definitely a really good chance something was going on there. Especially that fucking little hook maneuver onto the guy's foot there. I don't know. Oh, that was that shot body made. I remember that. Does the 180 onto Lucas after Lucas can't hit fucking anything. Wastes like half a clip on him and fucking misses every shot. That'll wrap it up. Shox with 27 kills. He had a good game. And they win, fuck. Immortals miss another major. So yeah, this was a good demo. This was 2 of 3 for Shox. And it's not looking too good for him. His first one I thought was pretty weird too. It had a couple aimbot looking things, which are usually really hard to spot. You can only really spot them in certain scenarios. And this demo, it was actually pretty clean until that one round. There was a few things that I like speculated on and stuff, but that round at 15-15 I thought was pretty bad. I think it may not look bad to some. Just one of those things, you know, like if you clip that, you just show one thing, like when he locks onto the guy's foot, you just clip that and show it to people to be like, okay, that's nothing. But when you do that shit like that many times in one round, I don't know, dude. I think you may have a special key on your keyboard that you touch whenever you want to figure out where someone is. That's what I think. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. It's actually been a while since I had a sketch demo. Fuck, I don't even remember the last guy I did that had a sketchy demo. So I'm glad I did Shox. You know, it gets the heart pumping a little bit. Lets you guys fucking talk about something. At least you get some shit to watch, right? It's not just a demo review. It's a little bit more than that. So yeah, good shit. And I will see you next time. Bye.